Hi, everyone. So, I have here with me Rohan today, whom I discovered on Product Hunt. He is a Product Hunt whiz. And I mean, if you guys are in SaaS and you're building in tech, you would know Product Hunt, and you cannot miss Rohan for sure. So, Rohan is also the best selling author of the Growth Hacking book series. Top hunter at Product Hunt, I've already said that. And the startup growth advisor who has advised and worked with 700 plus SaaS startups. And once I start telling you the names of these startups, it's legit name dropping. There is UpGrad, ClickUp, Freshworks, Zapier, Google, Zoho. I mean, I think all of you must be thinking that, I mean, have I left any startup for that matter? Any, like all the SaaS companies that we know of from India and even outside of India, Rohan has worked with them. And he basically specializes in helping startup get their first customer and then get to 100 customers and then get thousands of customers. So essentially, growth hacking is his skill, and that's like it's his life hack. It's his major, it's what he's known for. And his product and launches make up for almost 30% of that platform's engagement, and that's saying something. His work has been featured in Forbes, HuffPost, and the Next Web. So, Rohan, welcome. I think I can go on and on about your introduction, and you're an amazing guy. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this live and giving us this next half an hour of your life.
I'm so excited to be here. I've seen you quite a lot on Product Hunt, on LinkedIn, and you seem to be very accomplished yourself. We'd love to chat and offer some value to your audience today.
Thank you so much. So guys, let's start with the first question, which is kind of baked into our title itself, which is AI native growth framework for product launches. So I'll break this down, Rohan, and I want you to talk about what do we mean by AI native, because I think AI first, using AI workflows, using agents. I mean, there are just so many words out there today, which has founders and marketers super confused. So if you can tell us what you mean by AI native workflows and how should we look at product launches as a co-founder or a marketer?
Yeah, so I've been on the internet since I was probably 17, 18 year old, and I've been consulting SaaS startups for the past 7 or more years. And what we have observed is that every time somebody would want to launch a product, there would be a very classic playbook that you build campaigns. You essentially prepare for product hunt, you prepare for ads, you prepare for PR, and hope to get traction. What's happening today is exactly the opposite. So everything happens in real time because the AI has a landscape is changing in real time, right? So think about, it's not about having the finished product and then taking it to the market. Now it's about how you can iterate more, right? Let's say I will build a product, I launch it iteratively on every platform possible which is relevant right now, and then try to see what the feedback is, and then go and bake in more features or change something based on what the feedback was. And this cycle is of course traditional, but then it has just gotten a bit faster because of AI. So imagine if I was launching products once in 3 to 6 months. Now
Mhm.
I'm launching the same product every month because they have such major updates to share with the community, right? So it's always have got community first. I've seen products like Velo. They launch, they get feedback. The next month I see they already incorporated all the feedback that the community gave them. It's always now very iteration based. Like you launch on Twitter, you get some feedback, you launch on product and you get some feedback. And when I say feedback, it actually means that people signing up,
Mhm.
becoming your customer, sharing what they feel, and then see, is there like another startup that can be built or wipe coded overnight and can actually dethrone you. And for that to not happen, you don't have to be a perfectionist, but just keep shipping new updates. Think about, you being Claude in your own space. You don't have to be Claude because of course they are a very systemized team. But then even with a small team and even solopreneurs, you just need to think like, okay, how can I keep shipping even small updates very, very regularly that improves the experience of the end user, right? And then it has also become very distribution first, because features can be copied now, ideas can be stolen, uh, or perhaps, if I have to mild it down, it could be wife coded. But then
Yeah.
distribution is something that you really need to crack, and there are some products doing it extremely well. There are some trying to come up and try to get adapted to, this new sort of marketing that we have arrived at. So I personally think about it like, the um, crypto marketing shadow has gone over to the AI folks, because just like how the crypto projects will create a lot of hype and then try
Yeah.
to milk the situation as much as they could and then move on to the next project, I
Yeah.
somewhat feel that the AI space is getting heated to that extent, that you build some hype, you get some users, and then try to see if the brand pivots or not. Like, who imagined that Lovable will have so many other things going on when they originally started as just website builder, right? So that's the direction we are really looking at. And then, of course, rather than being more corporate, it has now become people first. So it's either founder led or it's team led. That's why you see, again, companies like Google and Claude and OpenAI have these employees advocating at such a large scale. I know for a fact that Google has an internal program to incentivize their employees to be vocal publicly, and the same goes for every other company. I
Hmm.
think they traditionally called it employee advocacy programs, but then those programs are now have a higher stake.
Hmm.
Employees are trying to, capture a specific market, and they are incentivized for being that public person or public persona for that company. So we have
Yeah.
really went from brand first to people first and founder first. I think that's the biggest shift that I've seen, and I think that truly defines everything that I said, truly defines the AI native growth.
That's really nice. And there are a couple of things that you said, that think of your company like Claude. It should make sense to the end user, and you need to ship out updates faster. But on that, we have a question. My Mohit was saying that, do you see products? But do you see products overextending by continuously shipping updates? And that adds on to another question which came in, that how many times, like, is does that count as a new launch? I mean, when you're shipping out updates, or is it just like an app, like on the app store you have all these apps, there's a new update, you just go there and update your product. But when we talk about AI tech SaaS products, somehow a small update also becomes such a big thing, and then you go out there, you do another relaunch. How does that work, and how do you strike that balance? Yeah. So I think I'll take the other questions later. So this is the old question. Striking the balance between features, calling it a new product when there's just a couple of features, and does it count as a new launch if you just add two features?
Yeah, so I think some features are so significant that they are almost a new launch. But then some features are improvements, and
Hmm.
especially in the AI space, we want people to be progressively um, launching. The meaning of that is that you launch something and then you make little improvements and then launch again, so
Hmm.
nothing really gets unreported. It's almost like, you're running a media company, has a brand, and then
Hmm.
Claude itself could be become their own media because they are constantly announcing some news, right? So some features really are breakthrough, some features are not. Let's say, for example, when OpenClaw came in, Claude responded with, like your browser use and computer use and other things. That's significant because that means they were silently building against OpenClaw, right? But then
Hmm.
there are small features where they give you small commands like slash by the way. That's
Yeah.
just a small feature, but then it fundamentally sometimes also changes how you perceive or see the product. So I think it's not just uh, the scope of marketing not just now lies in the hands of the marketers but also the team as a whole, and that's what I've been trying to advocate since 2019 when my book came out, the growth hacking book, that every person is a growth person. Your designer, your engineer, your marketer, your support person, everything needs like everybody needs to think, okay, what's the one north star metric that we are aiming for, and then how can we all achieve that in our own capacities, right? So think about the engineering team is trying to actually control the change log at the moment, so they
Mhm.
truly are shaping the direction of marketing. There is somebody sitting at the support trying to still do support led sales, so they are still like depend like they're still a very key player in growth, right? The founder needs to have their own persona. Elon is an example of it,
Yeah.
Sam is an
Yeah.
example of it, and there are so many others, right, from Microsoft. These are all examples which have really trickled down to smaller startups as well, and every founder now wants to have a voice, right? So the burden of growth is actually now not just in on the shoulders of marketers, but every person on the team is a growth person.
That's really beautifully put. But what are the KPIs that you measure? You talked
Mm.
about looking at growth and while working on launches. But how do you measure success? And is there some framework that you can talk to our audience today? Because one of their questions is around this only. So, and it matches with my question. Is there some framework that founders can follow? Agreed persona. You talked about distribution. You talked about personas. You talked about employee advocacy. What else, and what are the KPIs for success? How do you benchmark success? That is this good, is this bad? uh, and product hunt, let's take example of product hunt. I mean, every day the number one or number two products, the number of upvotes they have, the comments they have, or signups that they get, probably is very different. So how do you really, I mean, target that? So can you give us some framework and then get into how, if we're targeting product hunt, because I see a couple of founders here commenting who have a very PLG motion product, not a sales led, but rather a product led growth motion, which then in that case, product hunt makes a lot of sense for them. So,
For sure, like whenever a new launch happens, either on Twitter or Product Hunt or anywhere on the internet, what we are seeing is that a lot of people get excited. And my caution to them is that they shouldn't, because the platforms engineer their platforms in a way that gets people excited looking at the vanity metrics, and then think that, oh wow, like our launch was extremely successful, right? I think the biggest non-technical benchmark that you can look at is, did users come back to you using your product even after the initial excitement of the launch is already gone, or
okay.
just has the launch noise faded away, the users faded into some other product in your same niche, right? That's number one, which is super non-technical. But if you want to have like specific metrics to check, it would be, what was your traffic, how did the traffic convert to users or customers, uh, once they converted, were they activated or not, right? Were you able to retain them beyond a certain cycle of usage? What was the the referral rate? Do people, when they use your product, is it so good that they want to share with somebody else, or is it so good that they want to don't not share with somebody else because it's like a secret sauce for them, right? So you need to also identify that angle. When we specifically talk about product hunt, I look at it in the in a funnel format. So think about, like, the top of the funnel is your distribution, like how you promote and share your launch. Then the distribution leads to upwards.
Mm-hmm.
Upwards on product hunt translate to points.
Mm-hmm.
Points translate to what rank you would be on the leaderboard. From the
Okay.
leaderboard rankings, the traffic is determined, because the higher you rank, more traffic you get, and then the
Okay.
traffic converts to users and customers. And this is the place where your website's CRO, conversion rate, actually determines what would be the conversion, right? So I've seen products having 1,000 in traffic and then having 300 users, and then I've
Okay.
seen products having, let's say, 2.9 unique 2.9k 2,900 unique visitors, and then having 1,200 signups.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your conversion rate really determines what would it look like, right? And then I also know startups that have like almost 5,000 in traffic because they had a stellar launch, but then they still had just like 500 users. The reason is something is wrong then with your onboarding or the product type, right? And also they cannot be blamed because every product is unique. every product is different. Who is it meant for and what are the use cases could be widely different, right? So, and then for a B2B and B2C product, it's going to look different. For an enterprise product, it's going to look different, right? So, and then for horizontal versus vertical products, the
Yeah.
benchmarks are going to look different. But generally speaking, from like, I think I worked with more than 1,000 launches on product, and now you have to get anywhere from 500 to 5,000 unique visitors on your website on the single launch day. And then after
Okay.
that, whatever comes is the bonus. This is something that has been very consistent with everybody.
Okay, so I think that's a good target because we have a lot of questions here, and I think that benchmark really gives us a starting point. We have a lot of people appreciating you and saying that they love you on Product Hunt, so I'll not read those comments. But there's a question wherein Vaishnavi is asking, your presence on Product Hunt has been everywhere, of course. But if you're launching an AI startup on Product Hunt today, what is that one growth launch strategy that you swear by? And I'll add on the question to this question is that three cardinal sins while launching on Product Hunt. So I think you got to sum this up and tell us that what is it that you swear by and what is it that you definitely do and what is it that you don't do. So like a do and a don't.
So people, I might upset them with my answer because it's nothing like, a tactical advice. It's more of like a strategic advice. So
Mm-hmm.
people think that I need to promote more, push more, get more upvotes and all of that and get more comments. But to be honest, it's not about upvotes and comments. It's about your product itself.
Okay.
So I try to, before I hunt any product, or I work with any product, I try to see, okay, what is the product really about? What is it trying to do, right? So I try to summarize it in a one pager, saying what is the product, what problem does it solve, what is
Right.
their proposed solution, why
Mm-hmm.
is their solution different than, why is their solution radically different than anyone else who attempted to solve the same problem,
Okay.
what are the features, what are the corresponding benefits of those features, who is it meant for, and for what use cases, and one clear CTA. Is it going to be sign-ups, is it going to be maybe some kind of discount? So it's the product positioning, messaging, differentiation and design that really makes the difference.
Very, very well put. And you've also given us pointers that companies need to be mindful of. And we do say that a lot of times startup founders miss the ICP. They're like they have this thing in mind that this is my ICP, but when you sit and talk to them, there's a lot of confusion around who is it for, who's my ICP, why am I building this, how am I different, and all of those questions. I think it's very important. You talked about communicating exactly what is it that you want the users to do in CTA. So here's a question which says that when customers are well informed about AI claims, how do you validate and communicate a product's real differentiated value without over promising or falling into technical jargon? I think it's a nice question because I was also thinking about it. There's a lot of we're talking them chat GPT wrappers, or there's a lot of packaging around products. I mean, communication. I mean, now you can write beautiful com lines using chat GPT, Gemini, whatever, XYZ. But I mean, you're doing something different as a founder, you know that, but it's technical because it's an AI product. So, how do you really communicate without making it too technical, too jargony? And any insights on that?
Yeah, I think there should be a balance of non-technical and technical, because all kinds of audience are going to watch you on social or even product hunt, right? So
Hmm.
product hunt has a very specific very technical audience, and then there are very non-technical audience. So we have founders, marketers, engineers, everyone. So your messaging has to be so simple that somebody reads and just remembers you and understands you. Like, think about product hunt taglines. They are just 60 character, but then
Yes.
the way that they describe it, it makes all the difference. For example, there was this legal product that I was working with that said, we are cursor for legal writing. What does
Hmm.
that mean? That means even in my agreement or contract, if I want to change a paragraph or tell them to change something, I can just prompt and say it, right? Selecting that paragraph, just like how cursor is. So even without me trying to explain my product, that 60 character conveyed the full USP of what my product really was. And I do not mind rappers at all, because let's say uh, content writing and content editing is a rapper, But then
Yeah.
if I'm training it on all the legal data in India, US, or anywhere else, I
Mm-hmm.
can actually make it super powerful, right? And we actually need more vertical content. Sorry, we need more vertical AI wrappers because that brings the most value. Imagine somebody, and I'll give you an example of a bad rapper and a good rapper. So
Great.
imagine somebody having a image and video generation platform. We all know that it's going to use some API from Nano Banana or somewhere else, and produce the results. That's a bad rapper. A good
Mm-hmm.
rapper, what would it do is it will go and scrape social media, find what's trending right now in terms of content, and try
Mm-hmm.
to reproduce that in your own unique twist for your own unique niche, and then produce the images and videos. So that's the
Right.
differentiation between a good rapper and a bad rapper. So rappers are not bad actually, they just need to be thought carefully in a vertical niche to be able to become a good rapper.
So I think, if does that answer the question that's come in, that as per your experience, what's the most lucrative space? I mean, with your rich experience in products, which sector do you forecast will be the most lucrative in SaaS? Is that your answer? A good vertical rapper, AI rapper?
A good vertical AI wrapper is the answer. But then I've also seen that if you become uh, very technical as well, so I see APIs, hardware
Hmm.
AI startups now, and dev tools, and slightly fintech side of tools are very very easy to get funded right now. And even marketing tools are interesting, but they have to be very good. Let's say for example, um, how there are some very very good demo creation tools. I was talking about Velo some time back. There are many others in the same space, they're all funded. Other than that, I've also seen a lot of I think a very very good space, it just came to my mind. um, Anything that is to do with productivity, like how can I
Hmm.
do less but still get more done. Those kind
Right.
of products are also very 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 good space, especially if they build it for B2C, like for
Mhm.
masses. Think about how ChatGPT is trying to onboard all of us on their
Yes.
platform because they want to run ads. The other day I was going in Mumbai, through the Western Express Highway. I saw the ChatGPT and Google billboard next to each other. What they're trying to do is they want all the B2C masses onboarded just so that the ads can start, right? So similarly, if you're building in a space that is B2C and it is helping people stay productive, then it's a good niche. For example, a good example of this is Whisperflow. Whisperflow
Yes.
started with the B2B intent, but
Yeah.
I see them actually expanding to all and every professional in any vertical, whether it be a developer, coder, or whatever, right? And the line is blurring between B2B and B2C because the kind of marketing that B2B does now is so much more similar to how B2C does marketing, because everybody needs that awareness and being visible constantly and having that mind share in everybody's in your target audience's minds, because people and products who are seen more usually get more opportunities. So
Hmm.
it's just that everybody's trying to be visible right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you gave that example of B2B and B2C marketing becoming similar. Look at LinkedIn, the way the platform has grown. I think when that difference existed between B2B and B2C, LinkedIn was like a job portal. It was not a social media platform. Hell, there were no creators. There wasn't known for content. And
Yeah.
today, LinkedIn content in B2B space is a big thing. LinkedIn ads is a very big thing,
Mhm.
and they're really doing very well in this whole B2B space. So completely agree with you there. There's a question on how do you measure and incorporate user trust as a growth metric. This is an
Mm.
interesting one because we did talk about referrals, and we did talk about, will somebody, or will they hide you because they're like, oh, I have gotten this diamond and now I don't want to talk about it to anyone so that nobody else gets that information. So, user trust as a growth metric, and what are the practical tactics to increase trust that also, of course, boost retention on a product?
I think now, because everyone can build anything, the first way to build trust is having a good product. If your
Mm-hmm.
website looks like it was built in 2013, so
Hmm.
I would instantly know that you're not AI forward. So the
Yeah.
first thing is like really good design, and when I
Mm.
say design, I really mean the experience, right?
Yes.
The second thing is that try to make people talk about you. uh, of course positively as much as you can, so seeding or encouraging anything that is good about your product is a really good thing. For example, having a bunch of creators talk well about you and demonstrate use cases to your audiences, or
Mm-hmm.
identifying who is your power user and trying to help them share their story with the world, right? Second, sorry, this was the second one. The third one is just the onboarding, right? So the moment I onboard on the platform, I see it's a good experience, but then even after that experience, I need to also have that aha moment of using that product, so that I realize the value of the product as soon as possible, and try
Mm-hmm.
to bring down the friction of getting onboarded as much as possible. And then lastly is refining your messaging to the point that it's so simple that people can just see and understand. The same few pointers I was telling you about: product positioning, messaging, differentiation, and design. But then going forward with that, what is the product, problem, solution, differentiation, features, benefits, who is it meant for, and for what use cases, and the CTA. All of this should be communicated with the landing page. And then of course the rest of it is your own storytelling, it's your social proof of the reviews and stuff, which is very relevant right now because there is a sea of products I can make a decision, I mean, I can choose from. So the product with the most credibility, the most simple messaging, design, etc., will usually win me. So all of these basics are non-negotiable right now, and of course, it just shows a little bit of more trust also that you're not a company that's going to shut down very soon.
Mm.
Because I
Yeah.
see a lot of AI startups coming in and then just dying. So if you're a company that pivots fast, iterates fast, builds and ships fast, that's also a very good indicator. So having a very active change log or the product hub page on product and which continuously ships new features is also a trust signal for me. Other than that, if you can get funded or we know that you are a capable bootstrap
Right.
founder, that's also a very big signal for me.
That's pretty interesting. So I have a question here. Like, this is termed SaaS as software as a service, but now with AI products, and like you said, products are getting shipped out left, right, center. Vibe coding. I mean, like features are getting shipped out, and more products are dying. I mean, rather than like we are seeing 100 products getting created, but probably 90 of them are disappearing as well. So there's a new term that came in that SaaS is now service as a software, wherein there's so many AI native products. If you can really give that CS functionality or customer success, so that you don't have to figure out a new product, like the marketing head, the sales head, HR head, whoever you're selling to. What are your thoughts about this, Rohan? Do you think this is true? There is a service element which is needed now that there is this sea of product, and there's this confusion. So you need that human edge, or somebody actually coming and explaining this to you, setting it up for you, and like somebody you can believe in, rather than exploring and finding the product, which was the case 5 years back.
That's true. I also feel that, and that's where the element of founder led or employee led situation comes in, where I need to see who is behind this, and it just instantly makes me feel less worried about, or maybe more inclined towards the product. So definitely people first. In fact, I know a friend, their product name is WhatChimp. They
Okay.
do thousands of calls every single year, although they have extensively documented onboarding
Mhm.
documents like docs as such. They have really good tutorials on their YouTube. They send really good onboarding emails to their users and customers, but they still get everybody on the call when they are onboarding, because they want to leave that, like, leave no stones unturned to have that human touch. So they are
Yes.
messaging you on WhatsApp, they are messaging you on email, they're setting up a call with you if you only want to opt in for that. So what's happening is that the user feels so supported that they are
Hmm.
actually very at a faster rate are trying to capture the big players market, which are
Hmm.
very well established. And I've seen they are, I think they are almost reaching 1 million, or they have already reached 1 million ARR within a year, just trying to do like extremely good service. So the
Wow.
product is of course evolving and changing and becoming better each day, but the service is equally evolving and getting better. I know that there are more than 8 people deployed just for CX purposes.
Wow, that's amazing. And that gives us a lot of confidence because that's how I think we're looking at it. As a marketer, I get millions of products sold to me every day. And if I'm supposed to figure them out, even read their docs, they might have the best of tutorial, the best of documentation. I don't have the time. But if somebody blocks that 20 minutes with me and tells me that this is what you need to do, and in case you're still not able to do it, I'm there
Yeah.
for you. I think that's what I want.
Yes.
Like that agency kind of a support at the cost of a product, if you were to ask me.
Exactly. And
Okay.
every one quick point, every user is also different, right? Some people don't wish to talk, they want to figure out, and they will do the tutorials, right? But some people actually love being handheld, and
Yes.
that's when they get on a call and get things set up, right? So so you, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create everything possible so that
Mhm.
whatever works for them, they take it on.
No, that's brilliant put. So I'll just take one last question. We have quite a few questions, and in case you have the time, Rohan, please go through them. And I would request everyone to please get in touch with Rohan, send him that connection request on LinkedIn. And he did tell me he has a calendar as well available in case you have a product you want to talk to him, get him his advice on. Please set up that call with him. The last question is on what's the ideal warm up time for launching on PH? How can we build pre launch supporters?
Yeah, so I think the best time to launch is when you feel ready. But
Mm-hmm.
then, like I said, try to warm up their audience and build network and all of that. I think the very, very basic thing to first do is work on your product positioning, messaging, differentiation, and design, and then everything else follows later, because unless you're finalized with these four things, nothing is going to work out. Like, there is a thing called feature launches and non-feature launches on product, and right, every day there are 200 to 1000 products launching. Yes, like product and actually broke its own record. Last month we had a day where more than 1000 people launched, and the chances of you getting featured is like 3 to 7%. So for
Mm-hmm.
you to be not ending up like that 90% that got rejected from the homepage, your product positioning, messaging, differentiation, design is the most useful. And then you think of building network from people who are already there on product hunt and who
Mm-hmm.
you think can give you some feedback. And it also means that it can sometimes be mutual. For example, let's say if I'm a SaaS product founder, somebody creating a demo tool is also useful to me. I can be their customer, versus let's say me building for customer support and they can use mine, right? So a lot of times, a lot of B2B SaaS companies can usually, would you end up using other SaaS products? And the second
Yes.
kind of audience is the people who browse product and just to find new products, right? So all kinds of audiences exist. Connect with all of them, and of course before your launch, and then try to either show them your product, give them feedback for their product, or perhaps even let them sign up for free and see, check out the product, and then once the trial is over, you can always collect their feedback as well. So a lot can happen on the networking front, and that's something that everybody may already be aware of. But I think the important point is that because not everybody on product and gets featured on the homepage, your first goal is to really clarify your product positioning, messaging, differentiation, and design.
That's pretty interesting, and I think that answers the question that it's okay. You can do the warm up time, you can build your audience, but at the same time, I think the focus has to be the product, and that's what Rohan has been telling us. Rohan, before you leave, what is the tech stack that you swear by? We've been talking about AI native growth, AI native products. So give us those products or tech stack that you swear by, that you believe that is a must have
Oh, so would it be um, would
for
I
growth.
come across would I come across as a hypocrite if I said that I actually don't use much? So, but we do have like really good stuff going on. So for our internal processes, we use Claude Code to make our own little tools that make our life easier.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very heavy bias for all tools, Google and Claude, because of our own existing relationship with them. But then, other
Right.
than that, I have to say that Google has many products. For example, one of the products is like a Whisper Flows competition, and hardly anybody knows that okay they exist. Then there are so
I'm
many.
not aware of it. I know of Whisperflow. I have like a paid subscription to Whisperflow, and my team has that, and I'm not aware of this product. Please tell me
Google
which product.
Google has a free alternative. You just need to search, and then there is something called Google Labs. Try to
Okay.
check everything that's under Google Labs. Extremely useful, extremely underrated, and I think most of them are still free. For design, let's say if I'm going to consult somebody for their product design, our first go-to product is Google Stitch. And then
Mm-hmm.
for like the voice AI dictation, like you use it, I think every day I process more than 150 average emails. And how I do that is, one, I use again Google Gemini inbuilt native feature inside the Gmail. First
Mm-hmm.
I dictate it with something called what was this product called, one second, I think its name is Aqua Voice. So,
Okay.
just like Whisper Flow, I have an Aqua Voice subscription. So I
Mm-hmm.
speak first, and then
Yes.
Gemini converts it into email. I send it. Otherwise, there's no other human possible way to process all of the emails that we are getting every day. And I think overall, we thought that AI will reduce our work, and I'm sure it's not just me but everybody else has got started to get even more DMs, emails, and it's like you have deployed your AI agents, but you still feel you are always on, because now you are in a race how much more you can do, right? So yeah, I think the biggest tool really is your mind, that how can you step back really and try to optimize each process. So everything everywhere that you think it's going to take your time, some grunt work or some thought process, try to capture that thought process into an SOP, and then try
Mm-hmm.
to see how you can convert that standard operating procedure into an agent, right? Because it's not about tools dictating your work anymore. So it used to be the case where, okay, now we know Clay is used for lead generation, so I'll somehow want to make Clay fit into my tool set and use it. That's not the era we live in. I will define my workflow, and I will
Yes.
create my own custom agent, and I'll then deploy it, right? So it has gone from tool first to really your IP and SOP first.
I completely agree. There's a lot of products which are for the agents. They are not for human use. And I think that's a very interesting category that's coming up,
Yeah.
specifically in B2B lead gen, in terms of searching on accounts and helping a lot of agents do the search. So I'm not selling to people, I'm actually making this for agents. So basically selling to enterprises who are deploying agents. So I think it's
Agents
a
have their own credit cards as well.
yes, yes, and what a beautiful ecosystem we are now a part of. That the decision makers are human beings, but yet
Mm.
we are building purely for agents as well, which is a very interesting category in itself. And probably we'll have a product hunt for agents soon, where agents are competing. We did have like a social media for agents. Which one
Yeah,
was that? I forgot the name, but it was in the
yes,
news time.
something weird that just made a headline and then went away.
Yes, and then it vanished. It vanished. It went somewhere. Nobody knows where. So yeah, but let's see what happens next. So thank you so much, Rohan, for giving us your time today. It's like almost 40 minutes because we blogged half an hour with you, but you gave us more time. So thank you so much for that. And thank you everyone for joining in today.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed the discussion.